There was a time when the world saw Shiloh Jolie Pitt as just another celebrity child, born into fame and fortune. But behind the headlines and paparazzi photos is a story that's far more complicated, full of heartbreak, family betrayal, identity struggles, and quiet strength. Shiloh's life wasn't the fairy tale people expected. It was shaped by a Hollywood scandal that shocked millions, a painful divorce, and years of emotional battles fought both in public and behind closed doors. But what makes her story truly remarkable is how she's grown through all of it, carving out her own identity far away from the drama of her famous last name. It all started with one of the most talked-about scandals in Hollywood history. In 2004, Brad Pitt was married to Jennifer Aniston, America's sweetheart. They were the golden couple. That same year, Brad began filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Angelina Jolie. What looked like on-screen chemistry soon turned into real life. Rumors. Brad and Angelina claimed it was just acting. Jennifer stood by Brad and told the media everything was fine, but the truth came out fast. By early 2005, Brad and Jennifer were divorced. Angelina was pregnant. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was broadcast across the world. One photo of Brad, Angelina, and her adopted son Maddox walking together in Kenya became a heartbreaking symbol for Jennifer. She described it as a knife through the heart. That image didn't just mark the beginning of Brad and Angelina, it marked the start of a family story built on passion, pain, and intense public interest. When Shiloh was born on May 27, 2006, the world watched closely. Angelina gave birth in Namibia, and the moment felt more like a royal event than a private family occasion. The Namibian government closed off roads, secured hospitals, and offered Shiloh citizenship. Magazines fought over the baby photos, and the money earned was donated to charity. At just 2 months old, Shiloh became the first celebrity baby to be honored with a wax figure at Madame Tussauds. She hadn't even spoken her first word, and she was already a global phenomenon. From that moment, Shiloh's life was never normal. She wasn't just a child, she was a symbol of a new Hollywood power couple. But even in those early years, it was clear that she was different. She wasn't chasing attention. Her early appearance in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button was quiet and uncredited. Just a sweet moment between a father and his daughter. Later, she did voice work for Kung Fu Panda 3 with some of her siblings, but again, it wasn't a big publicity push. There was no red carpet promotion or media tour. It was subtle, simple, and natural. But as she got older, she started showing up at movie premieres with her mom, and people began to notice something unique about her. Her fashion sense wasn't flashy or overly styled. It was real. She wore clothes that felt like her. She walked with quiet confidence, not the polished posing we see from most celebrity kids. Her calm presence stood out, and at the same time, she was dedicating herself to dance. Videos of her rehearsals went viral, not just because of who she was, but because of how talented she is. Hollywood insiders started talking. Shiloh wasn't just the daughter of 2 famous actors. She was an artist in her own right. But what made it even more surprising was how private she remained, even with all that attention. The story of Shiloh's family took a dark turn in 2016 when Angelina Jolie filed for divorce from Brad Pitt. It quickly became one of the most painful and public breakups in Hollywood history. Angelina asked for sole custody of their 6 children. Shiloh was only 10 years old. Soon, the media was full of reports about family conflict, accusations, and heartbreak. One moment changed everything. On a private jet, Angelina accused Brad of being verbally and physically aggressive. Investigations were launched. The FBI got involved. No charges were filed, but the damage was done. Brad's reputation took a hit, and the family fell apart. For a long time, Angelina had full custody. Brad could only visit the kids under supervision. Some of the children refused to see him at all. Others were still unsure. Shiloh, though, reportedly wanted to keep seeing her dad. That put her in a difficult position, torn between a mother who was trying to protect her and a father she still loved. The court battle dragged on for years. Therapists were brought in, visits were scheduled, and all of it played out in the press. Angelina's team wanted the children to testify. Brad's team said that would hurt them emotionally. It wasn't just about custody anymore. It was about loyalty, identity, and what kind of childhood these kids would be left with. But the fighting didn't stop there. Brad and Angelina had shared ownership of a luxury French estate, Chateau Miraval. It wasn't just their wedding spot. It was also a winery worth over $160 million. After the divorce, Angelina sold her share to a Russian businessman without Brad's approval. Brad sued. He said she broke their agreement. She said she wanted to move on. The legal mess spilled into international courts. It wasn't just about money, it was about trust, about betrayal. And again, the children were stuck in the middle. In 2018, Angelina's lawyers accused Brad of not paying enough child support. Brad's team came back with receipts, millions in loans, housing, and expenses. It felt like the more they argued, the more the family drifted apart. By 2021, Brad was briefly awarded joint custody. Angelina fought back. She said the judge didn't let the children speak. The case kept dragging on. And by the time Shiloh turned 18, it had been 7 long years of court hearings, headlines, and heartbreak. Right after her 18th birthday, Shiloh quietly dropped the last name Pitt. She legally changed her name to just Shiloh Jolie. That simple decision said a lot without saying anything. Inside the family, the cracks were even deeper. Brad, who once looked like the perfect dad, became a stranger to most of his children. Maddox, the oldest, reportedly cut all ties after the jet incident. Pax made a post online in 2023, later deleted, accusing Brad of tearing the family apart. Zahara also dropped Pitt from her name when she joined a college sorority. Even the youngest twins, Knox and Vivian, seemed to have pulled away. Vivian recently worked on a Broadway production with Angelina and was credited only as Vivian Jolie. The message was clear. The family had moved on, with or without Brad, but through all of this chaos, Shiloh was quietly becoming her own person. She started showing a strong interest in humanitarian work, something she clearly got from her mom. Angelina has been working with the UN for years, and she often brought Shiloh along on her missions. Shiloh didn't just tag along for photo ops. Even as a child, she asked questions, took notes, and connected with the people she met. She visited refugee camps, wildlife centers, and health clinics in Africa. She traveled to Ethiopia, Lebanon, and Namibia, not for media attention but because she genuinely cared. People who met her say she's grounded, thoughtful, and serious about helping others. She even started learning languages like Spanish and French to better communicate in global settings. Friends say she's always been the kind of person who writes things down. She journals her experiences, processes her emotions, and tries to understand the world beyond Hollywood. That maturity has set her apart. While other celebrity kids launch fashion lines or try to go viral, Shiloh stays focused on issues like refugee rights and access to education. She's been part of youth programs that support displaced children and is reportedly interested in working with the United Nations long-term. She doesn't use her last name to open doors. She lets her actions speak for her. Even though she's often seen as quiet and reserved, there's one place where she completely lights up: the dance studio. That's where she expresses herself fully. Her teachers say she trains hard, listens carefully, and brings her emotions into every move. Whether it's hip-hop or contemporary, her dancing feels honest and powerful. It's her way of finding peace in a world that has always tried to define her by her parents. Shiloh's life has never been easy. From the second she was born, she was in the spotlight, her parents' choices constantly shaping her story. But instead of letting that define her, she slowly, carefully created a life of her own. She didn't chase fame. She didn't try to clear up the rumors or change the headlines. She simply focused on what mattered to her: family, service, dance, and growing into someone she could respect. Now that she's 18, people are watching again. They're curious what's next. Will she step fully into the public eye? Will she continue her humanitarian work? Or will she stay out of the spotlight and build something more meaningful in private? Whatever she chooses, one thing is clear. Shiloh Jolie isn't just the daughter of two Hollywood icons. She's someone with strength, empathy, and purpose. If you've made it this far, you can probably feel how different her story really is. It's not about glamour or gossip. It's about resilience. About finding yourself in the middle of chaos. If Shiloh's quiet strength moved you or made you think twice about what it really means to grow up in the spotlight, then don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to keep following stories like this one, where truth matters more than headlines, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.